Hello, everyone. This is Laura, and welcome back to Become a Fluent English Speaker. Today, I want to talk about a situation that can make even confident people feel nervous. Small talk. You meet someone new. You smile. You say hello. Then suddenly, nothing. Your mind goes completely blank. You start thinking, what should I say? I experienced this once at a coffee shop. I was waiting for my coffee when someone I had met before walked over to me. He smiled and said, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "I'm good." "How are you?" He said, "I'm good too." Then we both stopped. There was silence. I looked at my coffee. He looked at his phone. I started thinking, why is this so awkward? The funny thing was that I knew English. I had plenty of vocabulary. I could talk about many subjects, but at that moment I couldn't think of anything. Later, I realized something important. The problem wasn't my English. The problem was pressure. I was trying to think of the perfect thing to say. I wanted the conversation to sound interesting. I didn't want to sound boring. I didn't want to make a mistake. I was thinking so much about the conversation that I wasn't actually having the conversation. This happens to many English learners. They know hundreds of words. They understand grammar. They can watch English videos. But when someone says, "How's your day going?" their brain suddenly says, "Error, no response available." Why? Because speaking isn't just about knowing words. It's also about reacting naturally. Small talk is usually not about sharing important information. It's about creating a comfortable connection. When someone asks, "How was your weekend?" they may not need a detailed report. They're opening the door to a conversation. You can answer simply, "It was pretty good. I went out with some friends." Then you can return the question, "How about you?" That's enough to keep the conversation moving. You don't need a fascinating story. You need a small opening. I've learned that small talk becomes much easier when you stop trying to impress people. Instead, become curious. Ask simple questions. How do you know everyone here? What kind of work do you do? Have you been here before? What have you been working on recently? These questions give the other person something to talk about. Then listen to their answer. This is where another important skill comes in. Follow-up questions. Suppose someone says, "I started a new job last month." You could say, "Really? How are you finding it?" They might answer, "It's been challenging, but I'm enjoying it." Now you have another question. What has been the most difficult part? Suddenly, you aren't searching for a completely new topic. You're simply following the conversation. That's one of the biggest secrets of natural conversation. You don't need to constantly introduce new subjects. You can take one small piece of information and explore it. Think of a conversation like a path. The other person gives you a small piece of information. You follow it. They give you another piece. You follow that one. Eventually, the conversation becomes natural. There's another reason small talk can feel uncomfortable. Silence. Many people are afraid of silence. If there are 3 seconds of silence, they think, "This is terrible." But a short pause isn't a disaster. People pause all the time. Native speakers pause. They think. They look around. They choose their words. You can do the same. If you need time, you can use natural expressions such as, "Let me think. That's a good question. Actually, I've never thought about that." These expressions give you time while keeping the conversation alive. They also make your English sound more natural. And remember something important. A conversation doesn't have to be perfect to be successful. Sometimes you will say something awkward. Sometimes you will forget a word. Sometimes the conversation will end quickly. That's normal. The goal isn't to create a perfect conversation every time. The goal is to become comfortable enough to keep trying. The more conversations you have, the more patterns you notice. You learn how people greet each other. You learn common questions. You learn natural responses. You learn how to change topics. You learn how to end a conversation politely. Eventually, these things become easier. So if small talk makes you nervous, Don't try to become an amazing conversationalist overnight. Start with 3 simple skills. Ask a question. Listen carefully. Ask a follow-up question. That's enough. For example, how was your weekend? Listen to the answer. Then ask, what did you enjoy most? That's a conversation. You don't need complicated English. You need attention and curiosity. Before we finish today's podcast, let's learn some useful vocabulary. Small talk means casual conversation about everyday topics. Awkward means uncomfortable or slightly embarrassing. Curious means wanting to know more about something. Follow-up question means a question you ask after someone gives you an answer. Conversation means an informal talk between 2 or more people. Respond means to answer or react to something someone says. Pause means to stop briefly before continuing. Natural means relaxed and normal rather than forced. Now here's today's challenge. The next time you speak English with someone, don't try to have a perfect conversation. Use this simple pattern. Ask a question. Listen. Ask one follow-up question. That's it. For example, how was your weekend? If they say, it was great. I visited my family. You can say, that sounds nice. What did you do together? You have just created a natural conversation, and if you make a grammar mistake, keep going. If you forget a word, explain it another way. If there is a short silence, take a breath. You don't need to escape the conversation. You just need to continue. Before you leave, answer today's question in the comments. What topic do you usually talk about when you meet someone new? I'd love to hear your ideas. If you enjoyed today's English listening podcast, subscribe to become a fluent English speaker for more stories, psychology, vocabulary, and practical English. This is Laura. And remember, good conversations aren't about having perfect words. They're about showing genuine interest in another person. Keep listening, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next podcast.